These are the steps to solve a trigonometric equation between 0 and 360 degrees. So we're going to be in degree mode when we are not looking at a sine or a cosine or a tangent that is on the unit circle. So you're going to use the inverse trig function to find an angle that goes with your sine or tangent or cosine. You're going to find the reference angle given that inverse trigonometric function. You're going to determine what quadrants your answers should be in and how many there should be. And then you're going to use 180 or 360 and the reference angle to find the actual angle answers that you're looking for. So a couple of things to keep in mind as we're going through these problems. Let's keep in mind our favorite acronym. All students take calculus, which tells us what of the trig functions are positive in each quadrant. And then how do we use our reference angle? Well, if you get a reference angle that's in the first quadrant and you need an angle in the first quadrant, then the reference angle is your answer. How do we use the reference angle in the other quadrants? Well, we're going to use 180 minus the reference angle to get a second quadrant answer, 180 plus the reference angle to get a third quadrant answer, and 360 minus the reference angle to get a fourth quadrant answer. Go ahead and look back at past videos to understand and remember why we were talking about that. And the video that goes right before this one kind of explains where did that 180 minus the reference angle and the 360 minus the reference angle come from. All right, we're going to actually jump down to the problems down here. So let's look at 8 tangent x equals 7. There are some times where you're going to have to isolate your trig function before you do anything. So we're going to start by dividing both sides by 8 so that we get the tangent of x is equal to 7/8. Now that we have an equation that is just tangent equal to a number, we can find our reference angle. Remember, our reference angle is going to use the tangent inverse of, or the inverse trig of that tangent that we're given. So in our calculator, we're going to go to function and use tangent inverse of 7/8. And that is going to give us a 41.19 angle. So I'm going to go to 2 decimal places today. So 41.19 degrees is our reference angle. It's already positive, so I don't have to take the absolute value of it. So we have our angle that is our reference angle. Now, using all students take calculus, we know that we need an answer in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 3 because that is where tangent is positive. Well, 41.9, our reference angle, is in quadrant 1. It's between 0 and 90 degrees. So that is our first angle. To do a quadrant 3 answer, remember a quadrant 3 angle is down here. It has a reference angle of 41.19 degrees. And the angle that we're looking for is the angle that starts at the positive x-axis and goes all the way to this terminal side. So you'll notice we did 180 degrees plus another 41.19 degrees. So to get to our second angle, we're going to take 180 degrees and add the 41.19 degrees. And that will give us 221.19 degrees is our second angle. Let's try this with sine of x is equal to negative 0.41 as a ratio. So we're going to get our reference angle by first doing the sine inverse of negative 0.41. And when we do that in our calculator, so we go to our Desmos, we're going to do sine inverse of negative 0.41. And we're going to get 24.20 degrees. Notice, or sorry, negative 24.20 degrees. So in this case, we're going to have to take the absolute value of that, negative 24.20 degrees, or negative 24.2, and our reference angle will be 24.2 degrees. Now, if you look at our quadrants, all students take calculus, we should be getting negative sign in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So our two answers should come from quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 and be between 0 and 360 degrees. 24 degrees is not in quadrant 3. So if we look again, quadrant 3, we have a reference angle of 24.2 that goes right here. And we want the angle that goes all the way from the positive x-axis to the terminal side. So we're going to take 180 plus the 24.2 degrees, and that will give us our first answer of 204.2 degrees. Now our quadrant 4 angle is going to be over here. Connect it to the x-axis so that we can get our reference triangle. And the reference angle is 24.2 degrees. In a quadrant 3 angle, we want to start at the positive x-axis and go counterclockwise all the way to the terminal side. So we want to do 360 degrees minus the 24.2 degrees to give us that entire big red angle from the positive x-axis. And that is going to be 335.8 degrees is our second angle.